My name is Ulrika. I am originally from Sweden. I came over to the United States in 1998 to ski at SeaWorld. I grew up in Sweden and I was not a Christian. My family did not believe in God and I really did not have a desire to. I really thought that God was for weak people. But coming over here and all through those years of life kind of starting to fall apart and Mr. Right never really showing up, I was searching for something. You know, I was searching for love. And in 1998, I found, he found me, a man who eventually became my husband, who was the one that asked me all of the hard questions about, you know, where are you going to go where you die? And he was also the one that brought me to Northland. And by attending Northland and hanging out with him, I just realized that I wanted God in my life. And it eventually happened on November 22nd, 1998, that I was in a point in my life where I had to take a step. At Northland, they did communion. And I remember Vernon so well saying, if you are part of God's family, take the elements when they come pass you by. And if not, then just let them go, because then this doesn't mean anything to you. And I was fretting because on my right-hand side was a friend from Sweden and on my left-hand side was Glenn. And I thought, whatever I do, I'm going to have to explain myself. Either, you know, I'm stepping out and going with God or I'm not. And so, you know, and so I was still that whole time. What am I going to do? And once it came before me, I picked up the wine and the bread, and I thought, you know what, this is my step. I'm going to step off that edge, and I've just never looked back. And it was pretty funny because a year and a half later, when I took the membership class, it was said in the booklet that we do communion on the first weekend of the month or when deemed necessary. And it made me laugh right out because this was November 22nd and it was definitely not the first week, and it felt like it was deemed necessary, and so if so, just for me. We got married in 2000, which is a year and a half after we met. After 3 years, we had our first daughter. She's 6.5 now, and then we have 2 more. Matthias is our son, and then a little Cecilia, that's our youngest. Everything in my life right now revolves about Jesus. It revolves around Jesus. It's so much part of who our family is. And I know that our marriage wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't because Jesus was in the midst of that marriage. Last year when I was studying Moses, I was really struck by 2 things. I was struck about obedience, and I was struck about idols. And I realized that one of my idols was the computer. It was a place where I spent a lot of time that I could be using to do something good for Jesus, or just basically opening my Bible and reading it. And I really was at a point where I needed to change that. And then at Northland, they told us about the GMO thing. And I thought, you know what? That will be a way for me to turn my idol into something that's a blessing to God. And so I was all about that. And then we went to that meeting and they were talking about, you know, Spanish speaking and English speaking, and I thought, I wonder if there's a use for Swedish. So I said, you know, do you need any other languages? And he said, oh yes, we need Swedish, and I was just like, well, that's me. I'm there, you know, how can I not do that? When I'm responding to the people that write to me in Swedish, it's just really neat, because here's a way for me to reach my fellow countrymen in Sweden with the gospel in a way that I never could. And I actually just got an answer back. He said, thank you for your warm answer. And I am so thankful I got a personal contact. I am the only one who's here in the U.S. Everyone else in my family is in Sweden, including my grandmother, who in the last couple months have been really depressed. And I felt like I really wanted to share Jesus with her. And I was able to do that by writing her a couple of letters. And the practice that I've gotten from GMO and just writing and putting my thoughts on paper and putting the gospel on paper and putting thoughts on paper, in sharing who God is and what He does for us. It's just been really a neat opportunity to be able to share with her in a different way. My prayer for my family and everyone I contact through GMO and really anyone that I meet anywhere is that they would know Jesus, that they would know the Jesus that I know, and that they would follow Him. Actually, that they would just search, because if you search, you will find. He promises that in His Word.